Hello viewers, good to have you here again on this channel. Today we are looking at likely JAMB questions on this subject, economics. The first question we're looking at here today. The firm owned and managed by a family is an example of joint stock, cooperative society, sole proprietor, partnership. What do you think? The answer is sole proprietor, a one-man business. Sunday and Sons Nigeria Limited. Owned and managed by family. One family. One family. Which model of the factor is inelastic? Which of these are wages is the reward for labor, then we have capital, we have labor, and we have land. Three of them are factor of production, right? Elastic, which model of the factor? So it can't be answer, A cannot be the answer because A is not a factor of production, rather a reward to the factor. So A is already knocked out. So the question is, which of them is inelastic? Inelastic means, at least at the short run, does not change. At the short run, does not change. You know, in economics, we have short run and long run. So among these three factors of production, land, labor, capital, the one that does not change, inelastic, at the, at the short run is land. Land is one that is inelastic at the short run. At the long run, another thing can happen. I think we'll get to meet with that later in these questions. Which of the following budget will increase government expenditure? Zero-based budget, surplus budget, deficit budget, balanced budget. Which, we have three types of budget. We have deficit budget, which means the government is spending more than what it's receiving. Expenditure exceeds receipt. While surplus means receipt exceed expenditure, right? Government is receiving more surplus than what is spending, the surplus. But deficit, government is spending more than what is receiving. Balance is equilibrium, all right? So which of the following budget will increase government expenditure? Deficit, because deficit means government is spending more than what it receives. That's a deficit budget. The economic questions about how to produce an economy is solely answered by the government, labor union, private and public enterprise, system of economy practice. The answer here is what? A system of economy practice. There are three systems you could practice. We have capitalist economy. If it's a capitalist, then the private organizations will answer these questions. Okay? Then we also have socialist. The socialist, it is the public or the government that will answer the question. But we also have the third one, the mixed economy, which is available for both the private and the public to attend to these questions. So the answer here is what the system of economy determine who to answer the question. Okay? All right. The next question, the following are methods of measuring national income of a country. Method of measuring national income of a country. We have expenditure method, we have consumption method, input method, output method. So which of them is not? Is input method. We have expenditure, we have consumption, we have output. Input method, C, is not. Petrochemical industry are located in the river state of Nigeria because why do we have petrochemical in river state? Favorable soil, coal deposit, crude oil deposit, favorable climate. Of course, the answer is C, crude oil deposits in the Niger Delta. The bow shape of production possibility curve, PPC, illustrates that production is inefficient, that demand is relatively inelastic, that production is unattainable, that the law of increasing marginal cost. The answer is what? The law of increasing marginal cost. You know that PPC is talking about the combination of production of two items at the same time. So when you produce more, you have production of less. Okay, very well. So increasing marginal cost. Okay. Which of the following is an indicator of economic growth? High tax rate, technology development, high gross domestic product, high interest rate. An indicator that the economy is growing. Okay? High tax rate, high gross domestic product. The answer is high gross domestic product. It can be technological development. Why? Technological development is only the indicator for what? Economic development. Remember, there's a difference between economic growth and economic development. So this B is for economic development. But the real growth is talking about gross domestic products. When you are able to produce more goods locally, then you talk about growth. Okay? When this growth is sustained over a time, it becomes what? Development. Alright? Particularly in the face of technological advancement. The graph above represents a decrease in quantity supply, an increase in supply, a decrease in supply. I think the D there is an increase in quantity supplied. I think the answer is what? An increase in quantity supplied. Alright? Why? As the price increases, quantity supply also what? Increases. In obedience to the law of supply. That the higher the price, the greater the quantity supply. So when the quantity supply increase, of course, it means that more quantity are bought and sold. More quantity are bought and sold. That is the meaning. So I think that should be option D. I can't see the question here. I think the thing is cut off from the screen. The law of diminishing marginal utility states that, we have also discussed this in one of our videos earlier, supply curve slows downward, your utility grows at slower and slower rates as you consume more and more. The elasticity of demand is infinite. None of the above. The answers, law of diminishing marginal utility is talking about more and more and more of a particular product you are consuming, the less satisfaction you are going to get. The first, when you are thirsty, just came in from the sun, the first bottle of Coke we are taking will cool you down, cool your thirst, and then look as if you are just wow. Then you take the next bottle of Coke, and you take the next bottle. The more bottle of Coke you are taking, the additional bottle of Coke you are taking, of course, the less satisfaction you are going to get from it. That's what we call law of diminishing marginal utility. Utility means satisfaction. So the correct answer is B. Your utility grows at a slower and slower rate as you consume more units of a particular good. Okay? A demand which gives rise to the reverse of the law of demand is derived demand, joint demand, abnormal demand, composite demand. A demand which gives rise to the reverse of what is the law of demand? The law of demand is what? The higher the price, the lower the quantity demanded. Okay? This is inversely proportional. So this question is saying that when a demand is now in reverse, in other words, at higher price, you are demanding more. What is that? Is it a derived demand, a joint demand, an abnormal demand, composite demand? The answer is what? An abnormal demand. An abnormal demand. Most of the ostentatious goods, that's luxury goods, they have what? An abnormal demand curve. Why? People believe that the more expensive they are, the more value they have, so the more they buy them. Like gold, like jewelry, and what have you. Cars. Alright? So they have abnormal demand curve. Okay? So C is the correct answer. Alright? And I hope you know the other demand. The right demand means you demanded for that product, not for the product of itself, but because what you are going to get from it. For instance, cassava. When you demand for cassava, it's not just for cassava seed, but for other components you are going to get for it. Joint demand, when two items are needed, are jointly demanded, alright, to satisfy a want, rice and stew, for instance. Okay? Composite demand, when group of items have to be combined together to satisfy a want. If two commodities are unrelated, a change in the price of one will what? They are not related. So if the price of one increase, what happens to the price of the other? have effect on the quantity demanded of the other. For instance, the price of cement, and the price of, say, rice. Rice, cement. Is there any relationship between rice and cement? No, they are not related in any way. Okay, so if two commodities are not related, a change in the price of one, if the price of one change, what happens? One will have effect on the quantity demanded of the other. No, now, a change in price of rice may not have anything to do with the demand for cement. Have no effect on the quantity demanded of the other. Increase quantity demanded on the other, decrease quantity demanded, have no effect. There's no effect because they are not related in any way. Option B is the correct answer. Have no effect on the other good or item. B is the option. In a perfect competition, the market price is determined by, when we say perfect competition, from the word competition, you don't give price. The price is open for the two invisible hands. What are the invisible hands in the market? We call them demand and supply. They determine the price. And that's what we call price system, or you call it price mechanism. Where there's no price fix, the laws of demand and supply will determine price. Okay? That's in a perfect competition. Determined by the government, by the producer, by the consumer, by the market supply and demand junction, equilibrium. Okay? So whenever demand, the seller is ready to sell and the buyer is ready to buy, equilibrium result and there's price. In the short run, I think I mentioned this before, the monopoly makes normal profit, abnormal profit, loss, sales. In a short run means a limited time that changes may not notice. So a monopoly, who is the person that is sole producer of his product, at the short run, at the immediate time, he can decide to increase the price of his product, the quantity, or lower the quantity to create artificial scarcity. At the end of the day, what will happen? It will make abnormal profit. At the short run, it's going to make abnormal profit. But at the long run, there may be introduction of another product, or taste of consumer may change, so it may be forced to bring down the price at the long run. But at the short run, it makes what? Abnormal profits. Okay? The next question. The demand curve facing the monopolist in the foreign market is elastic, inelastic, perfectly elastic, inelastic. The answer is what? Perfectly elastic. A monopolist in a foreign market. In your own local market, you are a monopoly. You are inelastic in your own market because you are the sole producer. Everybody depends on you. But when you are now facing foreign market, you are now in competition. You are in competition with other monopolies like you in foreign market. So the demand curve will become what? Perfectly elastic. Initially it will become elastic, and with time it will become perfectly elastic. That means it will change at any time. Okay? Supply. What is supply? Supply is a stock, a flow, a constant, a table. Supply is a flow, which is a quantity available for sale at a particular time. It's a flow. It's a flow. A rise in the supply of a commodity causes an increase in equilibrium price and decrease in equilibrium quantity bought and sold, an increase in both equilibrium, a decrease in equilibrium price, and an increase in equilibrium quantity bought and sold. A rise in supply. Let's assume this equilibrium price, E. So when the quantities, and this is the quantity supply here, okay? When the quantity supply increase, okay, the implication is that something must have precipitated the increase in this quantity supply. And based on the law of demand, the price must have increased. So the increase in price will bring about what? Increase in what? In quantity supply. Okay? So the effect is that a decrease in equilibrium price, an increase in equilibrium price and decrease in equilibrium quantity bought and sold. Because as you increase the quantity supply, because of the increase in price, the increase in price will have a negative effect that the seller, though the seller wants to sell more, but the buyer wants to buy less. Why? The quantity supplied has increased, the price has increased, the demand will also what? Fall. So there will be a decrease in quantity bought and sold eventually. Why? Or alternatively, the quantity supply may attract if the price did not increase on the condition all things being equal, ceteris paribus. If the price does not change and the quantity supply increases based on this question, there will be increase in equilibrium price eventually, decrease in decrease in equilibrium price and an increase in quantity bought and sold. Okay? If the quantity supply increases, the implication is that there may be a decrease in this price, equilibrium price, which will lead to what? C. Alright? So C will be the good answer. The method obtained by adding all the rewards of factors of production in national income is income approach, expenditure approach, value-added method, output approach. When you add the reward, what are the rewards? Rewards are the profits by the entrepreneur, which is gain. It's an income to him. Wages for labor is an income to him. Okay. Then land, rent is an income to land. And then interest on capital is an income. Everything is reward, profits, income. Reward and income for the factors of production. So the answer is what? Income approach. Income approach. Alright? Income. That's why you want to do national income. You say Y equals what? Wages on labor plus rent on land plus what? Interest on capital plus profit, which is for where? For entrepreneur, plus difference between exports minus imports. That's the net income from abroad. Okay? Very well. So the answer is income approach. An economy in which the world income is not consumed, referred to as what? Frugal, spendthrift, capitalist, mixed economy. The word frugal. Frugal means when you are not willing to spend. You are so conscious of your expenses. You don't want to spend anyhow. You are conscious of expenditure or spending. That's what I call frugal. Spendthrift, you just spend anyhow. Alright? So when an economy which the whole income is not consumed, in other words, all the income received are not fully spent. Some are preserved or conserved. That is frugal economy. A. Okay? The shape of PPC frontier is determined by the law of return to scale, diminishing returns scale, factor of production technology. We answered a question similar to this earlier. That's the law of diminishing returns. B. I hope you're enjoying value today. Please subscribe to this channel. Share the link with your friends so that they also can enjoy what you're enjoying, the kind of value you enjoy here. A C difference curve shows equal level of satisfaction at output, and isoquant shows equal level of output. Isoquant has to do with outputs. Outputs of different sectors of the economy. That's isoquant. While this one is talking about satisfaction in difference curve. That the more, when you satisfy one, you have to sacrifice the other. Opportunity cost you have to set in difference curve. But this one is talking about outputs from different sectors of the economy. Option C is the answer, isoquant. Which of the following is not a cause of unemployment? Poor education, lack of skill, good governance, planning, corruption. When you don't have good education, of course, you won't have a good job or even job at all. When you have less skill, appropriate skill, you also may not get a good job. Good government, if there's good government planning, there won't be unemployment anyway. Corruption, what happened in Nigeria is creating what? Unemployment. So the answer is what? C. C is opposite here. Good government planning. If there's good government planning, there won't be unemployment. Alright? But this one is saying cause of unemployment. C is the correct answer. The demand for labor is derived demand, joint demand, complementary demand, composite demand. Why do you want to work? Do you want to work because you like to work? Nobody wants to work because they like to work. But you work because of the reward you will get from working. Wages or salary. So by so doing, the demand for labor is what? Is a derived demand. You are demanding for it, for what you are going to derive from it. 24. The use of government income and expenditure instruments to regulate the economy is termed monetary policy, physical, there's nothing like physical, there's no physical in the economy. Fiscal policy, public finance. Once a fiscal policy is talking about when government use taxation and expenditure to manage the economy. Monetary policy is common with central bank. Central bank. The government deals with fiscal policy, which has to do with using tax and government expenditure to manage the economy. And here it's talking about expenditure instrument. So the answer is what? Fiscal policy. Option C. Fiscal policy. Not physical as in B. No. It's C. Fiscal. F-I-S. A tariff is a tax imposed. You should know a tariff is a form of tax. Imported goods. Goods coming from abroad. There's a tariff on them. The tariff sometimes is imposed on imported items so as to protect the locally produced goods. So imported items, C is the correct answer. I don't know why most of the answers are becoming, in the last 5 answers are becoming C. The demand for a good is price inelastic. If price inelastic means price will not change. Inelastic. Price inelastic means price will not change. Okay, if the price elastic is less than 1, price elastic is 1, that's equals to 1. Price elastic is negative, that is minus. Price elastic is greater than 1, If it's greater than 1, what do you say? It's elastic. If it's equals to 1, what do you call it? Unitary elastic. If it's negative, you say what? Perfectly inelastic. Perfectly inelastic. But if it is less than 1, it says what? Inelastic. So correct answer is option A. Price elasticity is less than 1. And we say price is inelastic. It does not change. Which of the following is an example of free good? Free education, water in the ocean, dinner you did not pay for. If you didn't pay for dinner, somebody paid for it. Your rented apartment, want to pay for a rented apartment unless somebody is paying for it. It's rent. Rent is a payment. So if you didn't pay, somebody paid. The answer is what? When you say free education, somebody is paying. It's not government or somebody is paying on behalf. So the answer is water in the ocean. Water is a free gift of nature. The one that's in the ocean, not the one that's running in your tap. You have to pay for that. The one in the ocean is a free good. It's a free gift of nature, just like land. The marginal propensity to consume is, what is marginal? We have MPC and we have MPS. MPC means your propensity or your thinking to consume than to save. While MPS is your thinking to save than to consume. So which of this is correct? Change in consumption over change in income. Yes. The slope of the consumption function. Yes. It's consumption. Anyway, C. Coefficient consumption in the equation. Consumption equals C plus this. Of course, you can see there. Option A, B, and C are correct. While D is not correct. It's nothing like C, Y, D. Because this is consumption equals to consumption itself plus consumption disposable income. Y, D means disposable income. Okay? So this is not correct. A, B, C is correct. Option A, B, C on the screen is correct. Okay? The next question. The short run can be defined as a period of time during which short run, I think I mentioned that in the first or second question. The period during which all inputs are fixed. At least one of the firm's input is fixed, at least 2 inputs are fixed, all inputs are variable. At the short run, it is believed that at least one of the inputs, one factor, is fixed. Most of the time, land is assumed to be what? Fixed. But at the long run, all inputs, all factors are said to be variable, including land itself. Okay? Very well. The demand for money will fall if people expect deflation soon. Real GDP rises. Real GDP is the real gross domestic product, the total product output within the year in the country. Real interest rates rise. GDP deflator rises. Okay? I think the answer is when real interest rates rise. When the interest on money, like what is happening in Nigeria today, for you to get a loan in the bank, the interest rate is killing and because of that, people are discouraged from accessing loan either for their small-scale business or for expanding whatever they have. Okay? Real interest rate rise. Option C is the correct answer. The next question. Which of the following is an example of expansionary monetary policy by the central government? What is expansionary money policy? That is central government trying to increase the money in circulation. Lowering income taxes. If you lower income taxes, when people are paying less tax, then their disposable income is high. And once disposable income is high, they will consume more. They will buy more. So you are allowing more money. Increasing discount rate, increasing reserve ratio, buy treasury security from commercial banks. Okay? Which of the following is an example of expansionary monetary for central bank? I think D is a better option. Do you know why? Central bank will buy treasury bills, treasury security from commercial bank. And central bank is buying, is releasing money to the hand of commercial bank, and the other one will now release money to the public. So the correct answer is what? Is D. When central bank buys treasury bills, treasury securities from commercial banks, by so doing they are releasing those money, they are paying commercial bank. So commercial bank have more money to pump into what circulation. So when they want to reduce money in circulation, they do the opposite. What's the opposite? They will now come and sell, like what they are doing right now. They are selling treasury bills, selling treasury security, so as they are selling to the public and to the commercial bank. They are collecting the money and holding the money, so as to reduce the money in circulation. This is talking about expansion, increasing money in circulation. So option D is the correct answer. All right. If commodities X and Y are substitutes, their cross and self-demand will be what? They are substitutes. In other words, it's either you consume X or you consume Y. So what will be the cross elasticity for their demand? The demand for one will lead to what? The less demand for the other. So it's going to be positive. Elasticity will change. It will change. It will surely change. Right? There will be an elasticity. B. The term investment. What is investment in macroeconomics? Profit, total amount of money invested in bonds and stocks, total amount of capital goods in the country, total production of goods for immediate consumption. The answer is what? Bonds and stocks. The money that are invested on bonds and stocks, that's investment. And that people are saying that that's greater investment one should do at this point. Apart from real estate. The next one is what? Buy bonds and buy stocks. That's a real capital investment. All right? Option B. The following are economic agents in any economy except central bank, household, firm, in any economy. Whether you talk about developed economy or developing economy or not developed economy, these three make up what? The agent of the economy. The household, families, the firm, and of course the government. Okay? They make up the agent of the economy, not central bank. Central bank is an agent of the government, not of the economy. Okay? So household, firm, and government. Only central bank is out. That's A is the answer for here. Economics is a science which deals basically with allocation of scarce resources. You know, we believe that resources are scarce and limited in supply, while goods, wants are unlimited. So there's issue of limited resources chasing after unlimited wants. Okay? Allocation of scarce resources, option B. The next one. Economists speak about opportunity cost when a person, what's opportunity cost? Foregone alternative. When you forego a product for another product. When you sacrifice a choice, you sacrifice something for your choice, for your satisfaction. We call it opportunity cost. Has the opportunity cost to attain high degree of cost? Has to forego one thing in order to have another. That is a beautiful answer for that. Option B. When you have to forego one thing in order to have another. You have to sacrifice one thing to get satisfaction. So that's what B is talking about. B is correct. To calculate the annual natural growth rate of a country's population, one has to know the country's annual birth rate. And when you talk about growth rate, annual growth rate of a country, what to do is what? You look at the birth rate minus the death rate. How many were born and how many died within that particular period of time. Very simple mathematics. So if you have the birth rate, what's the next thing? It should be death rate. So the annual death rate. Option D is the correct answer. Very simple mathematics and logic. Okay? You don't need to waste time on that. You can classify the people of Nigeria into 3 broad age groups. Group 1, 0 to 15. Group 2, 16 to 64. Group 3, 65 years and above. What do you call Group 2? 16 to 64. They are the most important to the economy. Why? It is dependent population of Nigeria. No, dependent population are Group 1 and Group 3. All students in Nigeria are in this group. Is that why they are more economical? More than 50% of Nigerians are here. I think we are missing that D. The D should state that they are the most productive population of the economy. So D is the correct answer. The most productive population of the economy. This is Group 2, 16 to 64. The answer is D, the most productive population of the economy. This is productive age. The other 2 groups, 1 and 3, they are dependent population. Okay? So option D is the correct answer. If you assess the question, you see option D there. Okay? As we plan to round off today, let's look at this. In the study of economics, land, labor, capital, we have said so much about this. They are referred to as part of production. Yes. There's no controversy about that. Or any debate? No. These factors of production, this factor produce commodities only if they are. At what point will you call them factors of production? Only if they are profitable to the production process, purchased for production purpose, combined in the production process, provided adequately for the answer is what? Combined. Until when they are combined for production processes, they are not factors of production. It is when they are combined together, land plus labor plus capital plus entrepreneur, for the purpose of what? Producing a particular product or creating a service. That's what we call combination. Option C is the correct answer. Viewers, this is likely going to be our last question for today. Which of the following words is associated with entrepreneur as a factor of production? We have mentioned this earlier. What's the reward for entrepreneur? Salary is the reward for what? Labor. Profit is the word for what? Entrepreneur. Instead, the word for what? Capital. I read for what? Land. It's 4 factors of production. So the answer is what? Option B. I hope you have gotten value today in this class. Please share this link with your friends and visit this channel regularly to update your knowledge on this subject. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, I'm sure you enjoyed the content you just watched. To see more episodes as that, preparing you for your oncoming exams, smash the subscribe button on this channel right now and visit the playlist that we've made for you, covering over 50 types of different exams.